congratulations on this album. We've been playing Brain to Brain on our show, and our listeners have absolutely loved it. So congratulations on such a fantastic album.
Thanks, man. I'm super glad to hear that, man. It was a long time coming, so the fact that it's been received well is just perfect. It's great.
So I guess that leads to my next question. After 7 years, what made you guys decide that this was the perfect time to start working on new material and to bring a new album out?
Well, we were trying to finish the album for 7 years, man. We recorded the guts of it about 6 or 7 years ago. So it wasn't like we just decided to put one out after 7 years. We've been spending that long working on it. And it's just taken us that long, man. We all live in different countries and all have other jobs, and a couple of us have kids. So it's just taken us that long to finish, man. And then we were going to release it last year, but obviously the world ended and we had to reconvene. So, and we were hoping that we'd be able to tour, obviously, but we just we can't do that. So we just wanted to move on from it, really, get it kind of off of our skins.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who are musicians, and that is a big factor for them, that things move on and you start families, you have other jobs, and that makes it really, really hard to find time to record. How do you juggle that with your life? Like, do you set time aside to work on music, or do you find that just ends up coming last after all of the things with family and work?
I've managed to figure out ways to do music during the time that, it does come last. Like sometimes the physical playing of the drums or bass or guitar to get an idea out. But when for instance, like being up late at night trying to get my 2-year-old to sleep, I'll be like having tunes going around my head the whole time. And that would be something that would be helping me get through. Or even when I'm cooking dinner or something like that, there's always music going on in my head. And it's the same with the other guys. So then when we do get a chance to record the ideas, we have worked through them ourselves quite a bit. So we just have to find ways, or I just find ways to just constantly expand on ideas. There might be 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, or whatever, but there's always something tuning over no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah. With members in different countries now, how does that change the way that you actually set about writing a track? Like, that must change a lot of things as well.
Yeah, man, it makes it tough. It definitely drags out the whole process. Like, we are a band that can work really quickly when we're in the same room together, but really slowly when we're spread apart. And we've done the last 3 records like that, and you kind of might think that we might have gotten better at it, but this one's just taken a bit longer, but for a multitude of reasons. So it's just a matter of focusing on what the next step is, knowing what the immediate next step is, and trying to do everything you can to tick it off is an important thing to be able to focus on.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things I find really fascinating about an album that's written over a period of time is that the influences and what the tracks are being written about changes, whereas if a band writes an album within a month, then it kind of stays in that same kind of area. What did you find was influencing you while you were working on this album, but also what kind of themes and things were you exploring with the lyrics?
Dolph normally does a lot of the stuff with the lyrics. I send him titles like, Brain to Brain was a title, and I sent him like quotes from like old kind of mystery Reader's Digest kind of experimental kind of books that I just had lying around. And so I might give him an idea, and but then he kind of expands on it with what he wants to do. There's a lot of there's some that sound like they could have been written in the last year, but they were written 4 or 5 years ago. Especially like there's a song called Suspicion, which talks about kind of post-truth and conspiracy kind of stuff. But it was written 4 or 5 years ago. But now it seems super relevant with what's going on with the world. And how there's a lot of bands that you might think, they did that. Obviously did this in lockdown. There's some songs on here that sound exactly like that, but they're from 4 or 5 years ago, we're just only getting around to finishing them now.
Yeah.
So again, it's just a general collaboration with ideas, and sometimes something will catch and sometimes it won't.
Yeah, there seems to be a bigger sound with this album than what we've heard from you guys in the past. That even the vocals and everything sound louder. Was there something that you guys said about trying to achieve with this album that you hadn't done in the past?
Not necessarily anything in particular. We're always going for big sounds, big drums, bass, and awesome fuzz tones on the guitars. I don't think it was there's always an intention to make it sound massive, or just sound rockin', like we're all playing together, which was, like it sounds like we're all playing together, but there's a lot of extra guitars and editings going on with this one. So not really a specific intention to do that, but it's just ended up that way. Just, with Christian's really into his fuzz pedals, and so getting tones that kind of cut through the mixes and sounds that cut through the mixes is a thing that we've always been developing. So maybe that might have something to do with it, but general rhythms and riffs, we're just always trying to get the best we can out of each other.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the video clip for Brain to Brain, because it is an absolutely brilliant video clip. I understand it was shot during lockdown, so tell us a little bit about how that video clip came about, because it looks absolutely amazing. It's probably my favourite clip that I've seen so far this year.
Oh, sweet. Sweet. It's a pretty fun clip. Mark Swedell, he's a New Zealand director, but he lives in London. He just had this idea, and we were like, "Yep," and let's just run with it. But how are we going to do it? So he sent me a green screen and a couple of lab coats, and I just had to shoot myself with these kind of shots that he was wanting to get, and then I had to send the green screen to Ben, and he shot himself. And then Dolph and Christian, they were in Europe, so they got separate. I think Mark actually went to each of their houses and got stuff set up, and then he just put it all together. Once we sent him all the stuff off our phones, and they culminated it together with some stock footage, and then got some actors in London to kind of do the parts that kind of make the stock footage work. And yeah, it was just his general idea, and him having the know-how about how to make us look like we're all in the same room, or that we're all together somehow. And then, I guess it's just the wonders of a little bit of technology and know-how.
How difficult is it to give it that 70s look, though? Because that's the bit I think that really stood out to me. It felt like I was watching stock footage from some 70s documentary. How difficult was it to get everything to look... Even for your parts, like, did you have to make sure that your haircut matched like a 70s haircut kind of thing?
No, I think that maybe we just naturally kind of look a little bit 70s. But he also ran a lot of the stuff through videotapes and graded it with video treatment and stuff. So I think that added to it. Again, it's just Mark Swedell knowing what he's after and knowing how to achieve it.
Awesome. So, mate, you mentioned before a little bit about how the album didn't come out last year because of where we were at with the pandemic. How else has the pandemic affected things with the album? Like, did you have to change the way you went about finishing it off or anything like that? Or was, as you said before, a lot of it was recorded beforehand. Was there any tracks that still had to be recorded during the lockdown?
No, there was a B-side for Suspicion that Dolph just did by himself at home, and then he finished a few of the ones just by himself during lockdown. But lockdown for us, it was a bit of a catalyst to us getting everything done.
Yeah.
Because all of us were at home, and normally there might be weeks or months in between replying of email, but because all of us were at home and there was no kind of stress to be at work or jobs and stuff, at least for us it was 6 to 8 weeks. We were talking and chatting every day, and every night we were, at about 11 p.m. It was 11 a.m. for them, and so how it affected us was that's like one of the main things that got us to finish the album, to decide on what songs we were going to put on, the order of the songs, the artwork, all of that we would, it just made us, it just gave us the time to do it, because otherwise we're just distracted by our own surroundings, which is super easy to do when, you couldn't be physically further apart from each other,
Yeah.
So it definitely helped us finish. It didn't really hold us back.
That's awesome. So now for touring, that must still be a little bit off because of the way that things are happening in Europe, although the vaccination seems to be spreading more faster there than what it is here in Australia. Where are you guys looking at for touring now? Like, is that something that's still a year or two off, do you think? Or do you think that you guys might be out on the road before that?
Well, I guess we're at the behest of the beast of COVID when it comes to that. But I'd love to be able to tour New Zealand, Australia in the summertime. All of us we're doing everything that we can to be able to get more than likely the other guys will come here and we'll go between New Zealand and Australia. That's more than likely, though it's really hard to confirm anything just because it's, there's added risks now with even going from New Zealand to Australia. Let's say we came to Melbourne, for example. Melbourne's locked down. If we were on tour somewhere in one of the states locked down, it would be a massive risk for us,
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's different things to take into account, but nonetheless, man, it's weird for us that we're releasing music and not touring. So as soon as we get the chance to do a decent tour, man, we're going to be there with bells on. It's more than likely going to be Australasia. With the way the European scene is at the moment, there's nothing happening. So at least there's stuff here that we could do.
Awesome. Well, I cannot wait to see you guys play live. And I guess to finish off, is there anything you would like to say to people out there before they sit down to listen to this album? Because one of the things I've noticed is that a lot of the people who are writing to us and messaging us and saying that they want more of your music on our show at the moment are people that are just discovering you because they're the new generation rather than the generation like me that discovered you guys when I was in uni. So, what would you like to say to everybody out there before they sit down and take a listen to the album?
Oh, I'd say get yourself ready. Have a couple of beers, man. Have yourself a good time. Get some mates around and find a way to crank it up. If you've got vinyl, even better. But for us, we just are super happy that it's out. All of us are loving hearing the album now that it's released. We spent most of the 7 years listening to the details of every single song, but now it's out. We can just enjoy the whole thing ourselves. So know that we're enjoying it, and we can't wait to be there to perform it live, and just have a great time. Have fun. That's what we did. That's what we love to do. Have fun listening to it, and crank it up.
Awesome. Well, I think it's time to take another listen to Brain to Brain on our show right now. So, Phil, thank you so much for coming on the show today, and we cannot wait to see you guys play these new tracks live, hopefully later this year.
Oh, mate, thanks, Dave. We much appreciate the support, man, and we'd love to be able to be there as soon as we possibly can. But thank you very much.
Not a problem, mate. I'll let you go. Have a great day.
Cheers, Dave.
See you later. Bye.